Hi guys, welcome to the Art of Healing podcast. It's been a while since we've seen you guys. Thank you so much for waiting for us. I know we've been able, but there is a reason for that. We did go on holiday. We had a bit of a break, and then we had an emotional break as well because some shit went down, which we're going to get into in this podcast and explain, and also share what we learned from the experience also because it's not all bad, although it's not a great situation. But yeah, we'll get into it. I
Silver
think
linings.
silver linings. This story all begins actually a couple of months ago, really. Nisa, our dog, if you've not met her or seen her in our videos and our content or heard us
She's in
speak
some
about
of the
us,
podcast
yeah,
YouTube
she's.
videos.
If you
Yeah.
watch us on YouTube, then you would have seen Nisa probably on Pels' lap, chilling, vibing, living the dream. But basically, we've got a little male chihuahua called Nisa, who is our child at the moment because we don't actually have a child. And she had like this cough for a while that developed, and it got to the point where it was like, okay, cool, like this isn't going away. Let's take her to the vets and get her checked with what we thought was just like a chest infection, cold, that sort of thing.
Well,
Um,
actually, to be fair,
yes.
we used to do this thing with her where we would run down the hallway, and one
Yeah.
day she just started coughing. She couldn't do the run without coughing, and we were like, "Oh,
Mm.
that's a bit odd. Like, why is she coughing?" But we just put it down to maybe like having a cold or something. And then I think it was like on a Sunday night, really randomly out of nowhere. It wasn't even the night, was it? It was the day before she wasn't feeling well on the
Yeah.
Saturday. She stopped eating her food. She
Hmm.
wasn't eating her food properly, which is not like Nisa because Nisa will eat everything. And then on Sunday night, I came home and she was perfectly fine. She was like really happy when I came through the door, was really excited, and then just went back to her bed. But during the night, I could hear her breathing really, really loudly. Like it was not, it was weird. It wasn't like how she normally breathes. And I came downstairs to be like, what's happening?
Mm.
Because I'm a light sleeper. If you know, you know. And yeah, she was just breathing really, really funny. And she wouldn't calm down. Like her breath wouldn't calm down. She was just panting. Well, she wasn't even panting. She was breathing really loudly. It was very noisy and it was very fast. And I was doing everything I could to like calm her down, and nothing was really working. So I took her outside. She calmed down a little bit, brought her back in, and it was the same kind of thing. She was still not doing too great. Um, so yeah, and that was obviously quite worrying because when I checked online, her heart rate was like well over 60 a minute.
Mm.
It was like it,
Fast,
it was very,
basically.
yeah, it was, and this has never happened before. We've never seen anything like this happen with Nisa, and also she's never been unwell, so
No.
she doesn't have any condition. She gets checked up. She's perfectly healthy, or was perfectly healthy.
Hmm.
So this was really odd. It was like, why is this happening? But yeah, and then we ended up taking to the vets, as you were saying,
Yeah, so we took her to the vets on Monday.
on the
On
Monday.
Monday,
Yeah,
yeah, because they
because
weren't open. So we rang them on the Sunday. They weren't open. So it was like, cool, we'll wait till Monday. Managed to get an appointment then and there pretty much. So we rang up, told the vet, I guess, what was happening. And they were like, yeah, come in. So we took Nisa in, like, kind of cool. We guess we're going to get some antibiotics or something.
yeah. Plus,
And
she needed to have her tooth taken out, which is what we were going to take her for
yeah, which was,
before.
yeah.
And we were like, oh, cool. We'll just get that done now as well.
Yeah, because chihuahuas are prone to have quite bad dental hygiene, not dental hygiene, but dental, I guess. They have bad teeth. So she's got like three teeth, literally.
She's very scary.
But another one of them's wobbly now. So that was the initial reason for the whole quest that we was going to take her to the vets anyway, because she stopped eating her food sporadically, and we checked her mouth and I found that, and I was like, oh, it must be because of the wobbly tooth.
Because she was eating kibble, and then we thought,
Yeah.
let's change her diet. So we gave her different food, and she was fine for a while.
Hmm. So it's been a whole quest on and off that's been going on. Anyway, so we managed to get to the vets, and the vets check her over, and she comes back and she basically says, "Oh yeah, well your dog's got a heart murmur. On a scale of 1 to 6, it's like a 5 to 6, so it's pretty bad. And we're gonna give her a scan on her lungs to see if there's any water in her lungs to confirm what we think. But basically, what we think she has is heart disease."
And basically heart failure.
Congenital
Yeah.
heart disease. Okay, yeah, heart failure. So we were like, "What? Sorry." Like, we didn't actually say anything. I don't think at this point, did
No,
we?
we
We
were
kind
just shocked.
of.
One, because of how like we were just going in expecting like, oh, she's just gonna get like a little round or something. It'll be
Yeah,
fine. Like this was not expected in the slightest. Like it knocked us sideways.
yeah,
So I think one, it was just a shock of like, what did you just say to us? And I think also how it was relayed to us at the same time as well. It was
yeah.
done in a very like blunt, cold manner.
Mm.
Uh Like maybe she thought we were expecting it, but we were not expecting it. Like we said, she had literally no history of like any medical issues. So we were just like, excuse me?
There was no romance to it. There was no warm
There
up.
wasn't.
There was no chat. There was no like get to know us. It was just like, oh, your
Very-
dog has this. She's gonna die soon, and thanks for coming. Basically,
Yeah, she was like, yeah, she's probably got. What did she say? She didn't
6 to
say-
12 months.
Yeah,
she
6 to
said.
12 months.
She was like, yeah, with the stage that it's at, she's got 6 to 12 months. So she's like, there's nothing you can do. You can give her medication, but that's it.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
then
gonna save her. Basically, it's what she said in those not so many words.
and essentially she was saying that like you could go to a heart specialist, an echocardiologist, but like there's no point because you're just going to find out that she's basically dying.
Yeah.
Was what she said to us. She wasn't very nice.
So I've never actually been in a situation where like I've had to go to like, I guess, a health professional expecting it to be bad news, if that makes sense. So in this situation, obviously it's not like we thought, niece is really sick, we need to take her to the vets because, you know, something bad is going on. It was literally just like, let's sort out this little issue. Turned into a big fucking issue that we just weren't prepared for, and we got completely sidelined. Sidelined? What's the word?
Knocked sideways.
Knock sideways. We'll go with knock sideways. We've got knock sideways.
There is another word, but it's not coming to me in this moment.
Like hoodwinked. It's not hoodwinked. It's not there.
Windswept.
So yeah, I guess, and then we left the vet thingy because they were doing more tests on her whilst we waited outside. And I don't know if you want to add what happened from there.
Yeah, we walked out of that room because she was like, yeah, I need to do an x-ray to see what's happening with her lungs. Because the night before, you could kind of hear one of the things that was really loud was like when she was breathing, it sounded like almost like there was something stuck inside of her. So she asked her to leave the room, and as we walked out, I just kind of started crying straight away, and I was like, for those of you that can't see, I was kind of like putting my fingers on like the bottom of my eye to like, I guess, stop my tears from running down my face, but I was just in such shock because this is our little Nisaboo and we love her so much, and it was just so sad. It was just like, what do you mean she's gonna die? We didn't come here for that information. We came here for just like a little round of something so we could take her home and she could feel better. But yeah, so I guess I started crying, and then Paris gave me a little hug, and then you started crying.
Yeah.
And we were just sat there like crying our eyes out, and there was a man, bless him, he had his dog, and he's obviously just seen us come out of the room. Then he was looking at us, probably thinking like, you poor things, like, oh, they're crying. Yeah. Because, we were just sat in a corner, like, besides ourselves, like, no idea
what the next round, because we were waiting to go back in. It was like, it doesn't
what
really
is she
get
gonna
much
tell us
worse
now?
than what we just had. So, like, what's next? Kind of trying to digest it all, I guess.
Yeah, it's making me a bit sad now thinking about it, to be fair, 'cause
Yeah.
it was super traumatic. Yeah, it was just really tough, I think, you know. I also have never been in a situation where you get information like that.
No, same.
I've been to the doctors loads of times and they give you like information and stuff, but I've never heard something so like a complete that was not what I was
Like
expecting.
it's the worst news.
It is absolutely the worst news.
The only one up from that is like, hey, you're about to die.
Yeah.
Like you're literally about to die.
And I think I think in addition as well, like in that moment, because we were in such shock, it was also like the way that it was relayed to us, and like the lack of like, let me say this to you gently or cushion this for you.
Yeah.
It was just there you go. That's what you're dealing with.
It's interesting because we've since been back to the vets. I'm totally going down a side quest now, but it's relevant to the topic. And we had a discussion about the vet, and I asked Pels, I was like, what do you think of the vet? Like her energy, like her demeanor, like what do you take from the interaction you have with her? And what was it you said?
She looks like she's disassociated.
She looks like she's disassociated. And that was kind of the realm of what I was prodding for, or at least what I thought. Like her face, if you look at this woman, it's like witnessing a body that is functioning as a human would, but with nothing going on inside.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Her face was like straight. Her eyebrows were not raised up, like as if like this, but they were slightly raised.
Yeah. And it was not because of Botox or anything like that. She didn't have anything done from what I could tell.
Yeah. So it's like the hallmarks of someone that is stuck in like freeze state.
Yeah.
And we kind of were dissecting it, thinking like, I guess she's just like super stressed from this job. She's probably overworked, churning out this bad news all day, every day. and she's had to shut down because I guess emotionally, like doing that day in day out is a lot.
Because you don't become a vet unless you actually love animals, you know?
Exactly, but I mean, it doesn't seem that she had much love in her when we had her interaction.
No.
So, and it's probably still there. Don't get me wrong, but her body's had to numb it out. So you
To
got
like desensitize herself to like the sadness and the pain of like
Mhm.
dealing with that stuff on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
So that was just a crazy interaction that we kind of picked up on, and we're just like, I wonder if anyone's ever actually said to her like, "Hey, are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because it actually, knowing what we know, it really doesn't look like she was. But anyway, back to the topic. So that was just a little bit of nervous system related interaction with human beings that we had on planet Earth. Yeah, it's been real sad, man, and it was really hard to swallow that news, especially with like not expecting it and it not really even being in the realm of consideration. Like there wasn't a percentage in me that thought, probably you as well, like there was going to be bad news.
No.
I literally thought we were going to get some medicine and that was it. Like,
yeah, it was categorically, I would not have thought anything.
So we're both quite thrown off by it, and yeah, it's been fucking tough, man, to be honest. Like dealing with that level of grief is a lot, and I think the fact that we both cried in public as well,
Yeah,
that speaks volumes, because I've only ever cried in public once, and I wasn't proud about it at the time. I couldn't help myself. I was a lot younger, but I don't think you've ever.
I don't think I've ever cried in public. And I have never really even cried in front of people.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where you weren't allowed to cry, or you were told off for crying, I should probably say. And I spent my childhood, and actually a very large part of my adult life as well, thinking that crying was a weakness, or that crying made you weak and that you had to be strong. And if ever, say for example, like if I was having some problem somewhere, like say for example school, if I had fallen out with some girls and they were being mean to me, I would run to the toilet, I'd lock myself in the toilet and I'd cry in the toilet. I would never like allow anyone to see me cry. I don't even think maybe my siblings have seen me cry once, maybe twice, but like I cried at home, so that would be expected. But I think outside of that, I think you're the only person that's seen me cry. I haven't really cried in front of people.
And half the vets.
But yeah, so like yeah, that was a new experience for me, because I guess in that moment I wasn't really thinking about anyone else or anything else. I guess in the past, when I felt like crying in public or around people, I normally like find somewhere I can hide so I can cry, or like I'll suppress it. But I guess this time I was actually just very present, and I was just more focused on Nisa. I can see Nisa from where I am, and she's just like put her face on the floor. She's lying in the cutest way.
It's quite hot for her.
She's lying in the cutest way. It's adorable. But yeah, I have never really cried in public. But this time I wasn't actually thinking about anyone else. I was just focusing on being present, and I guess thinking about the situation. The only thing that I was thinking as I was like crying was like, oh, it can't be as bad as she's saying. Surely she's wrong. Like I was in denial a little bit. But I think something that I realized is like, after we went back in, obviously, we'd got the rest of the diagnosis and the rest of the information. We came back out again and we went to go pick up some medication. And then I stood at the kiosk, like crying there as well. We both did.
Yeah.
And again, like my thought wasn't about anything else. It was just, I feel so sad right now. And something that I realized, and it's probably been the same for you, is that day when we came home, the reality of the situation like started to sink in, that like our dog's not well and it's terminal. And we did what we always do, I guess. We're problem solvers. So we were like, right, what can we do in this situation to
straight on the internet?
We did all the Googling you can think of on the way back home.
Can somatic therapy cure heart disease? Can somatic movements cure heart disease? Is there nervous system regulation for dogs?
Can the vet be wrong?
Can
MVD be cured? Like, anything that you can think of, we were searching it on the internet, because we just could not believe what we'd been told. And yeah, we I think the reality was, the more that we researched, the more we learned about it. One, we realized actually there is a lot more that you can do to manage this, but also two, the reality and the severity of the situation was also sinking in at the same time, because it's like, this is actually very, very real. And I think the acceptance of that was kind of making me realize and feel like, oh, this is so sad that one day she's not going to be here, and we don't know when that day.
Start thinking about it as well. You're like, oh my god, like her time here is, I guess, all our time's limited, but it's like it's morbid to say, but you don't think about your own death until you're given like something to worry about that could actually cause you death. And obviously this isn't our life, it's Nisa's, but as an extension of us, of course, it's like, oh my God, like she's dying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And we always like have this thing where we'll like talk about Nisa when we have kids, like in a few years time, right? And we're like, oh, she's gonna love our kids, blah blah blah. She's but like the reality is that we don't know
if she's gonna make it,
if that's gonna be the case. So yeah, I think just that like the reality of that and like accepting it, I'm getting like sad about it now. The acceptance of that has been something that's like triggered, I guess, like feeling that emotion quite a lot. And then that's come up for us quite a lot, hasn't it? Like I guess just accepting the situation and feeling that feeling, which is kind of like a new feeling for us.
It is a new feeling, and I'm feeling it now on the podcast. This is great.
It's a little therapy session for us too.
Yeah, I guess we're having a therapy session this podcast. But it's really funny because we were talking about yesterday in our mixed circle, which is, for if you don't know, it's just what we call time to talk to each other, which we do once a week, which we obviously talk more than that, but this is the time to share our feelings, thoughts, and from the week, whatever. And we were just saying, like, you know, despite how much we've cried and how heavy it's been, and I guess the stuff we have done to address it, I said to Paz, I was like, I still, certain things have happened this week that have welled me up, and I'm like, I've asked my body, like, hey, where's this sadness coming from? Because these things usually don't make me well up. And I said to Pels yesterday, I was like, I think it's because like I'm still really sad about this situation, and I've still got a lot of emotion coming up, working through the whole everything. And it's obviously ongoing. So it's like, it's not something that you just kind of let go of. And it's like, oh, I'm going to feel better now. It's like, I imagine it's going to be an ongoing thing for a while, really. And it's just, yeah, it's been emotional. Way to put it.
We've been having a tough time, to say the least.
For sure. So yeah, you know, we obviously we've taken a few weeks off of the podcast because the week that it happened, the day that it happened, in fact, we were meant to be recording the podcast. Obviously, we came back and we were not in the right energy to be recording any podcast. In fact, we didn't work for the next couple of days, I don't think. We did like the bare minimum stuff that we needed to do, and then we kind of just, I guess we're depressed.
Yeah,
is the word to say it. And that's not I guess what I'm trying to highlight here is that there's a stigma to depression, but depression, at least the feelings attached to it, or better put, depression is the label to a group of symptoms, the group of symptoms being the feelings, right? So there's states of depression, that's you just going through some shit, man. And in that time, you know, you just have to actually sit in it and feel it.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be depressed as well.
And I think something that I will say that we did really well was actually just feel how we were feeling. We didn't bury ourselves in work or like run away from it. We were like very like present with how we were feeling. And like if we felt like crying and talking about it and stuff. And I think, I think that's something that's like big growth for us, because I think in the past we would have just like cracked on and been like, no, we've got work to do. We've got X, Y, Z targets to hit. I need to get this job
these
done.
Emotions later.
Huh?
We'll feel these emotions later.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't do that this time. We were very present from the moment we received the news and very like, oh, this is something that I'm feeling, which I guess is really big growth from us as well, because we've spent a lot of time building that mind-body connection, tuning into how we're feeling, and also accepting the emotion that comes on. I think sometimes you can have that mind-body connection, but like when the emotion comes up, you still ignore it because you're like, oh, I know I'm feeling this way, but I'm just not going to deal with it.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, it's all well and good doing the nervous system regulation, doing the somatic work and doing the breath work and having the diet and all these things. But when it comes to actually putting these things into practice in real time, do you lean into it or do you kind of just avoid? Because if you just avoid, then the stuff that you're doing before the event takes place, before the thing that triggers you happens, is just mental masturbation. You're just doing it to feel good. But what, do you know what I mean? There's no end result. So one of many silver linings from this experience for us has just been, oh, fucking hell. Like, you know, we actually really applied the stuff that we've been working on. Like, especially you in terms of crying in front of people.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me.
Like, you know, both of us, absolutely. But even more so for you, because, you know, with love, it's been very hard for you to express that side of your feelings for most of our relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the first time you cried in front of me, I was like, oh my God, you're crying. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like a shock.
Yeah, I was like, you cried. And he was like, yep, I cried. I think, was it in a mushroom ceremony?
It was absolutely in a mushroom ceremony.
We used to do mushroom ceremonies together when we was doing some some
Some
stuff.
super deep healing.
And one time after a very long effort of us doing this work, Pearls cried, and I was just sat there, you know, on my own journey, but admiring her as well at the same time. And since then, fast forward, now you are crying in public,
Dun, dun, dun,
not trying to
dun.
hide it, not saying how embarrassed you are or trying to cover your face. You just sat there barefaced, snotty nose, and I was right there with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the first time we've cried together, I guess, maybe.
No, I think we've cried
in
together before.
public,
In
yeah,
public together, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a whole experience. But yeah, I guess like really what I learned to experience in that moment was like expressing my emotions that I don't necessarily feel proud of, or a better way of putting it is I feel ashamed of showing.
That you've been conditioned to believe.
Well,
shameful,
yeah, exactly. Being conditioned to believe that like crying in public is a bad thing, or like let me save it for when I get in, because that was my initial thought. Because you cried first, and I think seeing you cry kind of gave me the permission then to cry myself. So it was like reverse co-regulation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, because there was a part of me, I was there welling up, and I was like, this isn't the right time. We're about to go back to the vets. Kind of feel the emotions but don't cry is what my thought process. And I just saw you and I just went, nah, fuck it. Because that's still something I guess I'm working on. In a lot of situations in my life, I've been the strong one. Even like last year when my brother went to prison, like I was the strong one. I didn't cry.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, but I didn't want him to see me crying. Like it was a whole thing, not because like, oh my God, my brother to see me crying, but I wanted to be there for him. Do you know what I mean? But these sort of things, although we think are like valiant.
Yeah, I guess you could say value.
You think they are valiant, really you're just kind of doing a dishonor to yourself, because all emotions in that present time want to be expressed. If you do not express them, you suppress them. If you suppress them, well, that's when the bad stuff happens. So we don't do that here.
And I also think that, you know, feeling your emotions, you know how I always talk about like being authentically yourself and not giving a shit about anyone else or what they think and feel. I think that crying in public was quite possibly my final boss.
Yeah.
In terms of that, because I genuinely, like, for the most part, don't really care about like about stuff like that, about being seen in that way or in any way, to be honest. But I think because I've never cried in public until I actually did, that's like the final boss I feel like I've deleted. I'm like on a new level of I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It's freeing though. When you kind of have these experiences where you do things that you thought that you couldn't, it's reinforcing to your body, brain, nervous system that, hey, like that shit that you thought was bad actually isn't, and you're stronger than you think you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, the other week we experienced nervous system
expansion
work in real time, or the work that we have been putting in, we experienced the benefits of in real time. Although it's hard to say feeling that way is a benefit. It is, because there was a time where we wouldn't have even realized that we were feeling these emotions, let alone address them, which is a beautiful place to be. And something else I think I've been reflecting on as well is this idea. We say this all the time when we're doing our lives, it's in our content, when we speak to our clients, is that on the other side of all the emotions that you're trying to avoid, the anger, the sadness, the grief, the whatever it may be, all these things we label bad, right? Once you get through those, that's where you experience the joy, the happiness, the peace. We don't realize that the thing that is blocking us is trying to avoid those other emotions. And the best example that I can give for you is the fact that since the vets, I've felt deep grief. Like grief has been eating me inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm only experiencing that grief. We're only experiencing that grief because we love something, someone, a dog so deeply. So when grief, is just an emotion that you can only feel in the presence of love, of being loved.
And I also feel like as well, I mean, we love Nisa so much even before this news, but I feel like now I feel that love even more than I did before, because it's given me perspective as well. And I think naturally it's just kind of opened the door to like feel more love at the same time as well.
Yeah, it's really like increased our capacity to love, because not only am I now finding myself appreciating the time that I have with her and say with you as well, and just my life in general, I'm kind of like, holy shit, like, yeah, we are all dying. We forget, like, what about if this is only the life that we have? There is no reincarnation. There is no, like, you get to go again. This is it.
Mm.
Although that is daunting and can be quite scary, you got to flip it and be like, yo, shit, I've got one life at this game. I need to actually live
I
it.
gotta make a good goal.
So that means, like, go after your dreams. That means, like, don't hold yourself back. It means don't let fear stop you. And it means love every single day and be grateful.
Yeah.
Because what else is there? If we're not striving to do those things, it's like you're missing out on life as it is anyway. And most of us are, because we're so, like, traumatized and distracted and stressed to actually stop and feel. We don't realize in where the life that we're trying to build is great, but in the process of that, we're missing out we're missing out on the most important part, which is living. So yeah,
it's been a tough time. We have had some serious news, but there are silver linings to it. And I think, as with everything, there's always a silver lining. And I guess for us, it's, hey, I guess we are healing and growing, and all the hard work we've been putting in over the years is, like, showing up in these areas.
it's paying off.
It's paying off. But yeah, if you relate to this episode, or if you're experiencing grief yourself, or if you want someone to talk to, please reach out to us. We are so lucky, because we also, as well, through doing the Art of Healing, creating the Art of Healing, we've built a really beautiful community who, without, we probably would still be a bit lost and a bit, we got very lucky. One of our friends, Teeny, who's in our community, she also has a dog who's going through something similar, and she was so lovely and sent us so many different resources and things that we can look into and use to help Nisa as well. So Teeny, you legend. But yeah, we have a beautiful community, and they're all so supportive, and we really felt that love and support from you guys. It was amazing. So yeah, thank you to everyone who did shout out to us. Thank you to everyone who did check in on us and support us. And yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, so if you are someone who's going through something similar, please join our community. Everyone in there is beautiful. And like Paris and I always say, healing happens in community, not in solitude. So come and join us.
That's where we'll be. But yeah, this has been the Art of Healing podcast, a bit different from usual, but nonetheless, hope you got something for it. There we go. But nonetheless, hopefully you got something for it. Thank you so much for your time and energy, and we will see you next week for another episode.
Have a great week then.
Ciao for now.
Bye.